our latest episode of Over the Fence. I'd like to introduce you to those of our community that is watching. You are Leslie Jones from the Kerrville Convention and Visitors Bureau. You are the communications coordinator for the CVB. So thank you for being here with us and sharing your ideas. You were with us last week on our webinar, and we had such a wonderful time with you, and we had so much incredible feedback that I just thought, you know what, you have to be on the podcast and give you the opportunity to share even more of those ideas. So I've been looking forward to today and to our conversation. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited. I'm also nervous because I know I admitted on that webinar that video. I'm not very good at video, and it's also like my fear. So we're overcoming fears today.
Oh, and I love that. So I don't know if you were at the Hill Country Economic Summit, but I was absolutely petrified to give that presentation that I gave. And I had talked to numerous people before the summit began, and I had voiced that fear, and everyone was just being so supportive and gracious with me that day. And so I got up on the stage and I said, you know what, I'm just going to let the entire place know that this is a huge fear of mine, and that that day was the day that I was conquering and overcoming that fear. And I cannot tell you after that how so many people came up to me and said, you know, this is what an incredible thing to do and overcome that fear. And just I got so much support after that. So I want to applaud you for taking this step in overcoming fears. I'm a huge fan of facing those and growing as an individual. So you are incredible, and you're one of my
really not, but I appreciate that.
Yes, you are. And normally I say thank you at the end of the podcast, but I just want to start this one by saying you have been such a wonderful inspiration and support system for me through this period of time of, you know, innovating and trying to figure out ways to bring information to our community. And our friendship that has grown through this period of time has meant so much to me. And so I just really want to thank you for that.
Same. Like, it's legit same. You've been a big lifesaver for the past 2 months navigating these new waters we're all in. So I want to say, like, I'm so glad that we're friends, even work friends, but I'm glad we're friends.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So in talking about, you know, where we are today, I just kind of wanted to know how it's always, I kind of start every podcast out like this, but I think it's important for us to share with people how we ended up where we are today and kind of what our journey is. And I always love hearing what people's journey is and how they got to be where they are and the positions they are in their stage of life that they're in.
I went to school at Schreiner. I graduated in 2006. I worked at a local hotel for a while as a events coordinator. So I was very familiar with the hotel world. I did that for a very long time. I was let go. And then I had no idea what I was going to do because I had this degree. I kind of was lost. I worked at a bank for a little bit. That was not a good fit for me. And then I was lucky enough to have, I would say I'm blessed to have some really solid friends in my life. And Tammy Bingham, I met her when I was at Schreiner. She was best friends with my boss that I had an internship with. I keep playing with my hair, I'm so sorry. And she's always kind of been like a big sister to me. And like, she gave me a place to live after I graduated. So after I left the bank, she let me know that the Convention and Visitors Bureau was hiring. And she was like, it's for a position that you'll be working with groups coming into the hotels, which I already had a lot of experience with. And I already knew a lot of those groups anyway, because I was working with them. And now I already just knew the other side. So now I could tell them all the secrets, or actually I could help them better. And so I applied. I got the service coordinator job. And then I've been at the CVB now for 6 years. It's crazy. It feels like it's flown by. And I made my way into the communications coordinator job when that opened up, and which is ironic because even though I graduated Schreiner with a degree in psychology, I was a marketing major for some time that I did not finish, and now I am in marketing. So, you know, God's got jokes. But that's kind of how I got here. I'm glad I'm here. When I started at the CVB and I kind of got settled in, I realized I had found a career and found a job. I found a career and I found a place that I could succeed in. And I was also worked for people that wanted me to succeed. And for that, I'm happy I stumbled there. So.
Well, I love that, you know, that you're using that word stumbled. I kind of like that analogy, actually. It's, you know, when you're kind of making your way through paths, and, you know, you may not know where you're going, and you may not know how you're going to get there. I think the other part of that really stands out to me is that relationship building. You know, that we have a support system around us that is looking out for us, and how crucial those relationships are. And, you know, having people around you that want to see you succeed and that can see the qualities in you that are great fits for you in positions or in ways of life, I think are just amazing. And, you know, whether or not you finish your degree in marketing, you are absolutely in the right place.
Yes, I am very, even though it's a weird time for tourism, it is a super weird time in tourism. I really do love it. I love what travel and tourism does, not just for a person that goes to be a traveler, but it does for destinations.
Mm-hmm.
And I like being on the end to help tell our story as a destination, or help create a story. And because with that is all these really awesome businesses and people that make up our community. So it's it's silly. I would have never thought this is where I'd end up, but it is, and I'm so happy I did.
Well, your passion and your heart, not only for what you do, but for the community, shines through in absolutely everything that you do. So again, you could not be in a better place, I think, for yourself and for our community. And, you know, going back to the webinar, you had just so many ideas. And that was apparent even before we did the webinar, in everything that we've talked about leading up to the webinar. And obviously, you know, we said during that, you know, we could do so many just on your ideas alone for how to help businesses. Yeah.
I'm really good at just like verbally vomiting out things in my head. But I've been lucky enough, because part of working in the CVB, they're really great about investing in education, which helps you grow professionally, but also gets to see other things. And I would love to see, as all of this goes, and I think there's things happening, because sometimes we don't hear them until they've already happened, but I would love to see our community, especially like our businesses and our attractions, really start to explore more ways they can work together. I would love to watch like our theaters work closely have a relationship with our accommodations, where like if they came to the end of the hills, maybe there's a package or there's some cross promotion where they can tell them about the play that's happening at the point. Or like we have summer camps. I mean, we're still going to get a lot of summer camp business this year. It's not going to be as much, but a lot of those families come in for the weekend, and there's some way there could be a coordinated effort to also make sure that they go out to the Museum of Western Art, or they go visit the Riverside Nature Center, they go see a play, check out a restaurant, just a lot more cross promotion. And it really does start from the ground up. Like if you live here in Kerrville and you have a business and you deal with the public, you work in tourism, whether you knew it or not. And the more that you stop saying there's nothing to do here, the more service you're doing to your community, even for yourself, because there is a ton of things going on. Now, some of them might not be as exciting as you want them to be, but that doesn't mean that they can't be exciting, or that you can't go and check them out and just get to know it, because there's all these wonderful gems here that I don't even think, I know I still have to push, like make sure that I take advantage of. And I would really like to see more of a push there.
And I think it's important, you know, we kind of covered it in the webinar, but I think it's important that just because it may be something that you personally are not interested in, doesn't mean that somebody coming from outside of our
Yeah,
community isn't interested in. And I think sometimes living in a community, we take for granted what we have here and what those hidden gems are.
we
And,
do.
you know, and sometimes it's because, you know, we've kind of, we fall into that, oh, been there, done that. And so we kind of overlook what those
I
things
call
are
it a
within our
bubble.
community. Yeah,
We get stuck in our bubbles. We get stuck in our routines. I do it. And so I know everyone does. And I work, I work where I'm supposed to know about all these things.
yes.
So I think it's just pushing ourselves outside of that, and embracing, like, Kerrville's really blessed to be in this part of the hill country. I know I am biased, but I think it's probably one of the prettiest parts of the hill country, or in Texas. There's a ton of wonderful history here that I know we'll see grow with the Heritage Center that they're going to be doing. I'm really
Yes.
excited about that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of art here. There's a lot of artists here, and I would love to see those highlighted more. In fact, I would love to see, like, I know there's a lot of like we've seen slowly more murals being painted on businesses. I think it'd be cool if there's more of a collected effort that we saw more murals on businesses and we had a mural trail, and just highlight, because for the amount of art that is here in Kerrville, I wish there was more visible seen when you come into our city. We do have a lot of natural beauty, and I'm not asking to take away from that, but I would like to see take advantage of some of the places that you wouldn't expect to see art.
Well, and I think, you know, in the past, we've had the opportunity to, or I've had the opportunity to talk to various business owners, and specifically Jeremy, who's been
Yeah.
really that co-founder and that participant, or the main participant with Cuts, about those mural opportunities along
Yes.
Cuts. And so I think, you know, you're really hitting it as far as having that as you know, an opportunity to be able to showcase our artists. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I think Jeremy has set a great example of how business owners can embrace that. And like, we have the CVB, we not necessarily, especially right now, might not monetarily be able to supplement it, but we can market it. And I would love to tell people to go on a mural trail. I would love to get to maybe even show some people a mural trail and tell the stories behind the art that's shown. Because that's all or anything really is storytelling. It's just your experience and creating an experience. So.
Well, I want to be able to get back to some more of your ideas and talking about the history. And I think you briefly touched on that during the webinar. And we are going to get back to that, but we have a pop-in special guest that we kind of alluded to on the webinar. So I think Gil is not with us on video, but I believe he is on the phone. Gil, are you there? Let me make sure he can. Well, nope, I think he popped off, and he might be able to come back in just a minute.
Come back in.
Yeah. So if you have a moment to just talk about, again, some of the stuff that we kind of brainstormed, and I think you talked about it on the webinar, but that opportunity to maybe even set up just a camera outside of people's businesses,
Yeah.
to, you know, give a video. And so if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Especially, I know kind of now we have a lot of stay-at-home orders lifted. There are some people traveling, more so than others, and probably more so in this state than others. But I still think you can grasp on to giving someone a reprieve. There's a lot there. We're living in history right now. There's a lot of big things going on, and I think it is a way to offer some respite by just, if you have a really great, like, well, I'm going to use Riverside Nature Center as an example. I've seen them do this. where you just go and set up your phone or a camera outside, and like they have this beautiful arboretum, and you just record for an hour, and you're allowing people to get away. They can tune in or tune out as much or little as they want, but you now have this living video that you can use for anything, really. But you are just creating an oasis, and it could be just as simple as that. It can be as simple as like Museum of Western Art has a lot of artists come in that create, like cowboy artists that create there because they have casitas. I think like even just watching an artist create like a bronze sculpture, because there's like people will watch things just because they are soothing, and I think I would find that really interesting. And it'd be a way to kind of just get a little brain vacation away. And the more you can like kind of look at what do I have that I can show someone that maybe I don't think is that super interesting, but what's it gonna hurt? I can put that out there. If it's like you make, we have a lot of really amazing jewelers, like James Avery, if they ever had a video put out of someone just designing a bracelet, making a ring, because they have all these great manufacturing plants, because you're giving it behind the scenes of what, you know, what makes James Avery tick.
Yes.
Leather working, if you have any cool history you could teach or show, because there's so much history that just comes along with the Guadalupe River in this area. It's just kind of as simple right now as just turning on a camera and doing it, and it doesn't have to have like high production value. People are very forgiving right now. They're willing to kind of just take a break.
Not only are they not forgiving, but it goes back to that thing that you really hit on in the webinar, which is being able to connect. And you know, we're still really wanting to be able to connect. And here is Gil, and so I kind of hinted that he was going to be here, and here he is. And so before he has to, or before we lose him or he drops off, our special guest. Gil, can you hear us?
So let me see. I am working with the computer here. Am I on the right podcast? Is this the Over the Fence podcast?
This is Over the Fence. Gil Salinas, the executive director of KEDC, welcome. Thank you for joining us, and we are excited to have you. And we saw you pop on earlier, and so then I think there was some technical issues, and so we gave you a little bit of a brief introduction before and gave our audience a little bit of a heads up that you were here and going to be joining us, but we're excited to have you.
All right, thank you. Well, if you all don't know who I am, again, it's Gilberto Salinas. You can just call me Gil. Gilbert works as well, and I am with the Kerrville Economic Development Corporation. And my role today, if I understand correctly, is supposed to be to host a special segment of the show, which is called a Rapid Fire Round, where Leslie, hold on, where I am supposed to ask a series of questions, really designed to get to know the interviewee a little better. In this case, to get into the mind of Leslie. So with that, may I proceed?
Sure.
Thank you. I've given this question a lot of thought. What is your favorite color?
My favorite color is teal. I play.
Thank you, Leslie. It was a one. It was just.
Cool.
It was a what, not the why.
Sorry.
Thank you. So, let's talk about movies. What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie right now is Tiger King, because I finished it, and the first thing I can think of off the top of my head. 'Cause I saw Tiger, now I understand. I saw Tiger.
Interesting, you said right now. What was your favorite movie before then?
I watch a lot of murder documentaries.
Murder?
Murder. Like I watch a lot of true crime. Yeah. This was a bad idea.
I guess I should be nice now, right? All right. Very interesting. So let's come back to let's talk about the Tiger movie. So why? is just the latest thing, or it's
I think it's a fascinating story of like just all these characters that are real life characters that actually happen and come together. And when they started filming the documentary, they didn't know what they were getting into, and this all unfolded like Joe's murder plot to kill Carol Baskin, while the guy's taking over the ranch that may or may not also have all these like really seedy like backstory. So it's just everything about trashy television all happening at the same time, and a documentary.
Trashy television. All right, that was an interesting why. So, what was the last concert that you went to?
Lizzo. I went to a Lizzo concert in Fort Worth in November.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right, I'll wrap up with a couple more questions. Supposed to be 4, but I'll ask 2 more. What's the last book you read?
I read Amy Poehler's autobiography. I can't remember. I think it's called Yes Please, or Yes. I can't remember, but it's her biography. That was probably the last book I read, and it's been a while.
Interesting.
Shame on me.
Yeah, that's fine. What's your favorite sport that you actually like to participate in?
Roller derby.
What was that?
I like it. Roller derby. I like it, and I participate in it.
Okay. Teal, murder movies, roller derby. Okay. Very interesting.
Y'all asked me to be here, for the record.
Yeah. So, all right, great. So, you know what? I'll ask you one more, and this is actually your pitch. So, if I'm a proud Texan, which I am, or just somebody that's coming in from out of state, and I want to go on a road trip, why Kerrville?
Kerrville is what I would consider the heart of the Texas Hill Country. We have even gone as far as to get the title of capital of the Texas Hill Country. You have everything that you would want in a small town, but a lot of larger city amenities with a ton of natural beauty. You're at the headwaters of the Guadalupe River. People are friendly. Businesses are, there's enough to fit your needs, and we have a lovely food dynamic going on, and I couldn't think of a better place to get around. Sorry, I was not prepared.
No. I mean, you hit all the points, and me, being in Kerrville here about 1.5 years, I definitely agree with you. So with that, Leslie, thank you. I definitely enjoyed asking the questions. I wouldn't want to be on the other end answering those questions. Thank you. And with that, I will sign off, and back to you, Teresa.
Thank you, Gil. We appreciate you popping in.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Nothing like our first rapid fire person to put you or to get you past your fear of video.
Right. Did a great job.
No, you did. And, I appreciate your personality. It just shines through. And I love murder documentaries. It's one of my fascinations, probably to my detriment when I have to be alone in my home.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of, I like documentaries in general, but I also listen to a ton of podcasts about like true crime and like history, especially like weird history. There's something about the macabre. It's fun. Well, it's not fun. It's also just good to know. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. One of my favorite just kind of weird podcast, and I don't want to say weird podcast, is Crime Junkies. My daughter and I.
Crime Junkies?
Yeah, Crime Junkies, and the other one is one of the history ones is Malcolm Gladwell. I always get that one wrong. Revisionist History. So if you haven't checked that one out, you have to try that one.
I'll have to add it to my list.
Yeah. So Leslie, this has been great. I'm going to let you off the hook. I don't know that I should ask you any more questions or keep you on.
They really prepared for so much.
I really appreciate you. You know, we've laughed like this so many times over so many different things over the course of these last few months. And again, you've just been a true bright spot for me, a great sounding board, a great place for me to brainstorm and for, you know, to share ideas. And I also have to say that you've been such a crucial part of being able to provide me resources and information for KerrvilleTogether.com, which has been that collaborative effort between the city agency, you know, City of Kerrville, Chamber of Commerce, the CVB, and KEDC, as well as local, not only local agencies, but state and regional agencies, in order to provide that centralized location for our community to get information for during this entire time. And you have been absolutely essential in that. And so I just really, really want to thank you for that.
Thank you. I am so glad. I am just very thankful that to have, oh man, I can't even put words. I really do appreciate getting to work with you, and I'm so glad that I called you after that meeting we had with the city, even though I felt guilty because I felt like I'm stepping on your toes. But I'm very glad that if there's anything that came out of working in a pandemic, that I got to have a meet and work and get to know you. So I value that very much.
Ditto. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of Over the Fence. Thank you for being our first rapid fire participant. And
Thanks.
you did absolutely amazing. And I really appreciate you. And for anybody that would like to benefit from you, from your ideas, from you know, the wealth of knowledge that you have about travel and tourism and business opportunities for promoting their businesses, you know, I would just really recommend you contacting Leslie at the CVB.
Yes, please do. I would love to even just talk, and then maybe I think the more you talk and collaborate and kind of just brainstorm, you can kind of find success. You can find like that sweet spot, and you don't have it until you start having a conversation. So I'd love to hear that.
Yes. So thanks again, Leslie. And maybe we'll get to do this again.
Yeah. I feel like this will be the worst podcast you have.
Oh no, I think it's by far going to be one of the best.
But thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I think now everyone kind of gets an idea what a weirdo I am, but it's fine. It'll be fine.
Not a weirdo, not a weirdo. You've been exceptional, and I really appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, you too.